What's up? What's up? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Questlove Supreme. I'm your host, Questlove. With me, Team Supreme. Laia, hello. How are you?
I am well excited, friend.
I know, right? Long time coming. Long time coming. What you up to? What's going on out there?
Right now it's not raining, so that's a good thing. And that's what's going on.
Wait, time out. It's been raining since. I mean, I was there for the Grammy night. It's still been raining since.
I guess so. I wasn't. I left and went to Brazil on Grammy night. But I heard it has been. You heard that, Floyd? You got to drive. I went to Salvador. I went to Salvador, so
you went to Brazil for Carnival?
For the best carnival, yes.
What the hell?
Flex is that? Yeah. What?
Y'all
That's
flex
so
all the time. I flex once a year.
What was it like? Give me your 45-second report.
I mean, Salvador, if anybody doesn't know about Salvador, Brazil, is beautifully Black. It's the second largest Black populated place outside of the continent. So it has all the flavor in all of the ways and just a lot. It was just beautiful. It was beautiful and fun. And the food tastes better there. Yeah. They say, just for you, so you know, the three different cities, you party in Rio and the people in Sao Paulo work so the people in Rio can party. And then, the Black folks are in Salvador.
Okay.
Right.
You didn't go to Rio or the other spots?
No, I was where you really want to be. Ahmir, Salvador is the best place to go for Carnival. I said it's where the Black people are who started it.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm a product of the Philadelphia High School public curriculum. So
yeah, but you're a world traveler.
I know. I just go to my hotel, eat my.
No. All right. Well, we got some things to do. We got some. I would love to take all of y'all to Salvador.
Well, yeah, you gotta let us know next time you going.
You're right.
All
right,
we
Steve.
Gotta go there to do the Arthur Verikai episode. That's what we're gonna do.
Say what? Tell me, Fonte, what now?
Oh, the Arthur Verikai. Yes.
Do the Arthur Verikai episode. That's what we're doing.
By the way, how I didn't get to peep Hiatus Coyote's collaborative album with him. Have you heard it or is it good?
I haven't listened yet either.
Okay. What's up, Steve? What's going on, man?
Hi everybody, how you doing?
How's life?
Great. I'm currently imagining a vacation with Laia to Salvador.
You need it.
I need it. I need it bad, real bad.
Yeah.
Everything's great. Looking forward to this interview.
Here's a dumb question, Steve. I got to ask you a work question. Who's on the show today?
Jennifer Lopez and Alan Richson and Gary Clark Jr. But we had a great musical guest yesterday.
Who?
Brittany Howard.
Oh, I was okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I was not at work yesterday. You can't get mad at me, Brittany. I was not at work yesterday. I had to take a day off. Things were happening. Fontigolo, what's good, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited to have Brittany here today, man. I can't wait to talk about this new album.
Hell yeah.
Shit is hard.
It's hard.
Bill Sherman.
Got me sweating already.
Wait, are you in California, Bill Sherman?
No, I'm in New Jersey. Also
That's your
California. Yes.
I mean, you're usually in the basement, so I was throwing off.
Yeah. So I haven't. I'm not in Black Brazil. I have a house in New Jersey, and this is what it looks like from the kitchen.
I see. All right. That's what's up.
We got to teach Bill about light. You're supposed to be in front of you. So
I know.
I
like being in shadows.
Bill's flexing of his window structure actually made me think he was on vacation somewhere. So I didn't realize that was just Jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today, as everyone said, pretty much we've been waiting a long time for this one. And it's finally happened. She is a 5-time Grammy Award winner, and she basically pours her entire life experience into her songwriting, her music, her production. And, she's just a star with an AH at the end of the word star. She's practically worked with everyone, name it, from Prince to Verdine White to Lin-Manuel Miranda. That's a hell of a alliteration. John Legend, the list goes completely on and on and on. She has formed several successful bands, including one of my favorite, the now defunct Alabama Shakes. Not to mention, she's here today to talk about her journey through life, her journey through love and music. And we're celebrating with her the release of her sophomore album entitled What Now? And again, long time coming. Welcome, Brittany Howard, to Questlove Supreme.
Hey, everybody. Good to be here.
At long last. Where are you right now, Britt?
I'm in the city. I'm looking out the window.
Okay.
Lower East Side.
So you're obviously you're on the promotional run, or are you on an actual tour for your album?
I'm doing both at the same time. I'm on the promo run. I'm doing tour. Yeah, that's what I'm out here doing.
As Fonte said, congratulations on the record. Like it's really awesome to hear your artistic growth and you know, just the risk that you're taking. The album is incredible, and you know, all the accolades that you're getting on it. Congratulations are in order. We love this record.
Yeah, I want to personally thank you for To Be Still. Like that, man. Like, thank you for that record. Shit is beautiful.
Man, thank you,
God.
thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah.
There's a level of envy I have when a person releases a new record, maybe because I'm constipated 10 years and holding my own record hostage. I was like, everyone, like, you know, Gary Clark's records coming out, Brit's records coming out. We just had Kareem Bailey Ray. Like, all these albums are coming out, and I'm like still holding my joint hostage. And like, so what is the feeling? What is the feeling you feel when it's over and you know it's ready?
What do you mean, like when it comes out? How's that feel?
Well, yeah, when you're done, because for me, like albums are almost like your kids. I hold this close to the chest. I don't play demos for people. I don't say, hey, you want to hear a bit of that? Like, I'm so anxious feel on letting it go. And then there's a point where like whenever I always master a record, maybe like two weeks before it's really supposed to be turned in, because I almost have to have a mourning process in literally letting your kids go. And I want to know, do you go through that, or is this just like, hey, here are my 12, 13 songs and I'm ready?
Yeah, I feel like I understand where you're coming from, but for me, it's kind of the opposite. I'm like, I can't wait to get this out in the world, because you know how it is in this business. You have to do the whole album cycle. You know, do the touring, and you have to do the promo, and you do all of this for this album. And it's like, as soon as I finish an album, I can't wait to get it out. It's like a gestation process, and what I imagine a very pregnant woman feels like. It's like, I'm ready for this thing to get out of me, you know, so I can move on with my life. And it's kind of what it's like. I'm very proud of this project, but I'm also very excited to start a new one as well.
Already.
Are you a song cycle person, or are you an album cycle person? Like, do you just write enough songs for the album to come, or is it even as the album is done, you already have songs in the stash or still writing?
Like, there's still some on the cutting room floor. I think I still had like 6 or 7 that didn't make the album. And it was just because it was taking too long. Like, I was like, all right, I got enough here. I don't really want to spend any more energy working these out. I'll do this later. And I'm definitely like an album cycle person. Like, as soon as it feels like if it has to feel done, it has to feel cooked. And I feel like once I have that feeling, it's just like an intuition thing. Then I'm like, okay, here it is. This is it. Let's do the sequence.
Oh, I was gonna ask, what was the period of time between knowing when it was done, like just knowing like that feeling you were talking about of like, okay, I feel like this is complete, it's cooked, the time between that and it actually coming out and being released?
Sure. This time, it was like 10 months.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's
a
long
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like post-pandemic, things are still just taking a long time to create, because we like vinyl, we like the objects. When listening to music, it takes a long time to print those things.
Oh yeah.
Everything's just slower. So it took a long time to get the whole shebang ready, really.
I just wanted to ask, if this was like a meal, then how long was your meal prep, and what was the preparation for this album, in the sense that this album is going to say this? Do you even do all of that in your head?
No, I don't even think about that. It was just I started this in March of 2020. So that's pretty much like shut down. And I didn't realize I was making an album. I would just go in and just make like songs for fun, because the world was terrifying. And we were all scared. So there's really nowhere to turn to. So it's just like, I used music as my outlet once again. And when I was making this album back in 2020, I didn't know I was making it. I was just like, it's like journal entries, you know? And I told myself, I'll just go in there. No matter what happens, it's okay. It doesn't matter what it sounds like. It doesn't matter the quality of it. It's just something to do. And so it's been cooking for such a long time. The meal prep has been insane. I had walked into the kitchen, cut vegetables, walked back out. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you, how close to March 13th, 2020 did you start the record? Like, did you start after it was like, oh shit, what's happening? Or was it like, la-di-da-di-da, let me start March 1st, and then next thing you know, the 13th, of course, is the day that the world officially shut down and was like, okay, we got to stay indoors, like we're on punishment. So how close to that date was what you feel your beginning was?
So I had just finished a London tour, or I guess UK tour. I flew from London, got to New York City, and we had Fallon lined up, and we had different shows lined up we were gonna do. Right. And I was just looking at the state of things. I was like, I don't think none of this is gonna happen. So I actually flew home, like on the 12th or the 13th. Like I got to Nashville, and then everything shut down. And I feel like I started tinkering with things maybe like a month later. I just know, like, I finished Tiger King. And as soon as I finished Tiger King, I was like, all right, I done ran stuff to do. Like, I guess I'll go make music because I'm a musician.
Yeah. What did you think of Platinum? What did you think of Joe Exotic's songs in Tiger King? I thought Kitty Kitty was a jam. Hey, fuck that. Hey, Kitty Kitty was a jam.
But it wasn't even him, right?
It wasn't him.
It wasn't even him. It wasn't even him.
Whoever,
which makes it richer. Yeah. He just wanted to act it out.
Yeah.
What do I think about the songs? Honestly, as a body of work, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 6.
Okay.
6
out of 20. No. So, actually, this is kind of a common. I don't think it's a coincidence. A lot of these albums that I'm hearing, were sort of got their genesis or their beginning in 2020, and they're just coming out now, like 4 years later. I don't think it's a coincidence that, for a lot of us, a lot of our art that we started creating in 2020, in sort of the midst of panic and the apocalypse, air quotes, the apocalypse. I don't think it's a coincidence. So I guess I'll ask you, how hard was it, or was it easy to be creative, or what was your relationship to creativity in the apocalypse? You know, because like people are dying in real time, family members are getting sick in real time, and like all these things are happening. But for you, like, were you like fuck singing, or like, and I mean like more like July, August, when we don't know if we're coming or going?
Yeah, I mean, my relationship with creativity was definitely difficult during that time. I was seeing like friends, especially on Instagram, just like having output, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, kind of where I was, like I said, I was going in and out of making little songs. And when I say little songs, I mean, they're like 30 seconds. They're just little ideas. And I pushed myself to do that. But honestly, it was like doing anything creative was a survival mechanism for me. Couldn't go anywhere, couldn't see my friends. was always concerned about getting sick, was concerned what was going to happen next, because not only did we have the pandemic, but back in Nashville, we had just had a tornado that had kind of devastated the area where I was living.
Oh.
And it was like one thing after the other. And a lot of people, like, they didn't have roofs on their house. So people trying to help each other out at the same time. It's like an extremely stressful kind of like position to be in. So to me, the creativity was my lifeline to any normalcy whatsoever. And it wasn't like I needed to have output. And it wasn't like I needed to make anything great. It was just, I just needed to have any type of like control at all, really.
Did you have a, another commonality in the pandemic was a pivot? Did you discover another talent that you had in the pandemic that you didn't realize you had?
Drinking. Lots of drinking. I got really good at drinking, but that's okay. You didn't ask me.
Don't leave out the smokers. Don't leave out the smokers.
Whatever you gotta do. I'm into it.
Man. I think, listen, I kind of rediscovered my love for fishing. Me and my dad used to fish when I was a little girl. And during that time, because I lived in the country, I could just go by myself and go fishing. And I kind of got good at that, I guess, if you can say you can get good at fishing. Yeah.
Okay.
Got good at standing there and
well, since you got good patience, that's what that means.
Yeah,
since you went a Libra there. And a good fisher.
Yeah. Oh, Libra. Okay.
Libra, yeah.
October
2nd.
See, I was going, oh God, you're October 2nd.
Okay. Just like everybody know me here.
Wait a second.
We can't be friends. I'm sorry.
No, not me.
There's no room in the inn. No, my life is sort of bombarded with everyone that's a result of post-Valentine's Day activity.
That's that math. Good math. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was some good math. You looked into that, huh?
Hey, man, drunken New Year's, Valentine's Day, literally last of September, early October. Where were you born?
I was born in Huntsville Hospital. That's Huntsville, Alabama. I was raised in Athens, Alabama.
What was that town like?
Back, let's see, it's changed a lot now, but back when I was little, it was lots of fields, cows, pastures. It's pretty flat where I live. So we got tornadoes, lots of country people. We had good diversity though, good diversity. Lots of rich people, poor people, Black folks, white folks, Mexican folks, all the folks.
You grew up on a farm or like a cityscape? I'm asking this because I have ties to Alabama, so I'm trying to learn other parts of.
You mentioned that to me before.
Yeah.
But where I'm from is rural. It's pretty rural. I live way back off the road in the woods. And I grew up kind of in a farm setting. But also my father was he's a tow truck driver and he had a junkyard. So I kind of grew up amongst a junkyard aesthetic, and also had these beautiful animals running around.
So were you a loner, or did you have a community of friends, or?
So I just played with there was little boys, the neighborhood little boys, because I lived way back in the country off the road. So they would literally just drive their little tractors down to my house and we would just play in the creek and stuff like that. It was country.
Yo, is it just me? I just had this conversation with somebody the other day. You just made me think of this. Tomboys. That's not a term that's used anymore.
It's very not, but back then it was.
It was. I was a tomboy. I mean, yeah. But I don't even know if it's politically correct anymore.
I don't know. I haven't thought about it in a long time.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I don't know. But I definitely was one of those. Yeah. And it was interesting, my upbringing, my dad, he's a car salesman and he did the tow jobs and stuff like that. So he knew everybody in the community. So he would always do what we call horse trading, which is just when you trade this for that. And I remember one time he brought me home a pony. And I remember being so excited about this pony. I was the only girl on the street that had a little pony. And the pony wasn't right in the head. So the pony would try to attack us and chase us and bite us. It was eating meat.
What? It was eating what?
It was eating meat. It was eating birds.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, witnessed it.
Not your dream, My Little Pony.
No, it was not a dream. But all the kids would come down and kind of check out the pony, Yeah. So that was my claim to fame.
Now I'm going to ask you a round of dumb questions that I never asked a person that was anything close to equestrian life, because I don't know that many people that have owned horses or ponies or any of those things. What is the, and I hear this all the time, where like one day I came home and my dad surprised me with, and usually a pony. What is the general like maintenance of owning one of those things? Like I have a farm now. Do I plan on owning? And my farm actually comes with I have like a barnyard that's a stable that can hold 6 of them if I chose to own them. Right now it's for storage, but what's the daily care routine for that?
The daily, I mean, honestly, like when it comes to upkeep for a horse, you're talking about, you got to have your like regular vet visits. You got to keep up with the vitamins. Definitely.
Wait, they take vitamins?
Yeah, well, it goes in their feed.
Why are you laughing at me, Laia?
Because they're beings.
Like,
we all
you
need
knew this
nutrition.
Too? You knew this?
I mean, I wasn't surprised.
Okay.
I'm not like an equestrian person, you know what I'm saying?
I didn't think so either when he said it.
Yeah. But I remember what we used to do. You got to take care of the hooves. You got to take care of the coat. When it's cold outside, you got to make sure that everything's right for them. When it's hot outside, you got to make sure everything's right for them. Like, I'd say they're pretty high maintenance, really. And they're also expensive creatures.
You got to buy it a trailer, Ahmir. Like, if you're going to take it to the vet, you got to take it to the vet.
Okay. Yeah. I just never understood like the casualness of friends of mine's like, yeah, I brought my kid a horse or whatever. But you know, I have anxiety trying to consider, should I get a dog or not, let alone.
I think a dog and a horse are very different things.
Yeah, I'd start with a dog for sure.
Yeah,
I'm not even starting with a dog because I travel too much. But you know, I just generally wanted to know. And the neighbors that I have on both sides of the house, they have horses. I go up and pet it, and part of me thinks like, oh, it's not that bad. But I know that there's some real shit that I don't know. So,
and Brittany ain't say if she kept the pony until it turned into a horse. Did you?
That's the part I wanted to know.
That's not how that works. Those are two different.
Oh no. Wait, dude, I did not know that. I thought that ponies were puppies to horses.
Nah, they're their own thing. They're their own thing. Ponies do not turn into horses.
Wait, what? Wait,
the more you know.
Folks.
Wait, what?
They do not turn into horses. Ponies is its own thing.
And they stay that size?
They stay that size. Yeah, they stay that size. That's right. Yeah. And they're kind of mean, to be honest with you. Ponies are not like super nice.
Really?
They have attitudes. All the ponies I've met have attitudes.
Even the Shetland ones, like real cute, like.
Oh God, this is about to be our animated advertisement thing, right?
Yeah. National Geographic with Questlove Supreme and Brittany Howard.
No, dude, this platform is more for me to learn shit more than their records. I already mentioned the record. I want to learn about this shit. So you did not keep how long did you keep the pony before it was like, okay, no more?
Not long. We kind of traded things up. So like
I had the pony common?
That's common around where I'm from, yeah. And so we had traded, like, we had a quarter horse at first. And then we traded the quarter horse. The quarter horse is like, it was like 25 years old. So like I couldn't do anything with it. So we traded it for the pony. And the whole reason we got the pony because the pony was mean, would bite you. So then I traded the pony for a go-kart. And then we were cool from then on. Just no more horses.
That's an awesome trade.
It's a good trade, yeah.
And what's this level of trading called again?
It's called horse trading.
Horse trading.
Okay, that's a term I never heard before. So is it a thing where like once a month you take what you want to trade to a place and you trade it, or you just go to your neighbor and be like, yo, what you want for this?
It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I've been noticing that you have this in your yard. Does it run? Someone's like, well, it could run. I just ain't took it in. It's like, well, I got this. I'll trade you this for that. And then it's your job to get it running. And then you take that thing that now runs and you trade it for something else that you want. You know, you just trade up.
Okay, I got it now. Can you tell me what your first musical memory was?
Whoa. Oh man. First musical memory. My my grandmother had like one of those big consoles that has like the 8-track player and the record player and the speakers built in. And I remember being really young, maybe 4, and messing around with all the vinyl.
Yes.
And pulling out some of the albums and had them all on the floor. And my grandma was like, "What you doing? You know, like, don't break them and all this." And I remember her putting on the Thriller album.
Okay.
And I remember hearing the speakers, like, because it was like a tube system. I remember them warm up, and then I could hear, you know, songs of Thriller coming out the speakers, and being like, "What the hell is this?" You know, kind of amazed and enamored by the whole thing, not just the music, but just all of it. You know, the warmth of it coming on.
And was that your kind of, I don't mean come to Jesus moment, but for you, was that like the moment where it's like, okay, well, I want to also express myself in this way through music, or?
Nah, so no, not really. I mean, I had that kind of moment when I was 11. I was in middle school, or am I middle school? I don't know, whatever grade 11 is, 5th or 6th grade. And there was a band from our school that had rented out our gym, and they were gonna put on a show. And I remember all throughout the day, everybody was asking, "Are you gonna go to the show? Are you gonna go to the show?" I was like, "I don't know. I'll see if I can get there." And so I get to the gym and I'm by myself. And I remember being like super anxious because I didn't really know anybody that well. And the band plays, and me seeing them play on stage, and it was kids I went to school with. It was like, I didn't know these kids could do this. They were so talented. Look at the effect they're having on people. It was songs that I liked and I knew. And it was like the coolest thing I had ever seen. And it was in that moment, standing in the gym, that I knew I wanted to be in a band, and I wanted to make my own music, and I wanted to be up there like they were. Like, I think that was the come to Jesus moment for me.
Okay. How long before you found other people that sort of had a common love for music? Like, was music something that you kept close to the chest, or like how big was the music community down there?
It was so small. I had to teach people how to play music to be in a band.
Wow.
So I would go teach myself the instruments, and then I would go back to school, and I would just try to find a kid with some sort of musical talent, like rhythm. And I'd be like, "Okay, hey, do you want to learn how to play bass guitar? Or like, do you want to learn how to play drums?" And I would tutor them and see if they get to a point where we can make music together. Some yes, but a lot no. Like, it just didn't happen.
Right.
I was trying to make it happen. And it wasn't until I was probably like 16 years old that I finally met some kids who also were interested in making music. And that was Zach Cockrell, bassist for Alabama Shakes. And then Keith Fogg, who became the guitar player. And it was them. So this whole thing really started from high school.
Was guitar your very first instrument of choice, or do you play other instruments as well?
My first instrument, I guess technically, is like piano, and then drums. I'm a drummer at heart. And then bass guitar.
You've never shared that with me.
Yeah. A lot of the drums on my new record, I programmed those drums.
Okay.
I'm not saying I could play them like that, but I can hear it, you know. And then I learned bass, and then I only learned guitar because I had to. I didn't really want to play guitar.
Really?
No, I want to be in the rhythm section. I want to play bass.
What is the gap though? Wait, the gap in between you knowing you wanted to do this and you teaching folks that the music, like, how are you learning? You never kind of said that yet. You just
naturally, or?
Yeah, so at first, like, I didn't have those instruments. Like drums, I could have access to drums because there were a set of drums at our school. So I could go play those drums after school. When it came to bass guitar, I would just borrow one from one of the rich kids. Cause like, I don't know what it was about our school, but all the rich kids had a bass guitar. So like, hey, let me borrow it, you know, and they let me borrow it. And so I taught myself how to do that. And the guitar, my sister had a guitar like tucked away back in the closet. It was like one of those JCPenney guitars that looks like a Les Paul. And it's like 150 pounds. And that's what I learned on, was that guitar. So I was teaching myself.
How long did it take?
How long did it take to learn those instruments? I mean, I haven't mastered any of those instruments.
Girl, stop it.
All
right, that's what we doing. Okay.
No. Honestly, I was just learning as I went. So if I pick something up, I would make something with it. I would just learn as I went. So from the very beginning, I wanted to make my own music. That was like the whole goal. That was like the whole purpose. But when I was originally learning, I had to learn other people's songs. So I just started with stuff that was easy, like Blink-182 and all those like kind of things like that. They're pretty easy power chord stuff, you know.
Wait, so wait, I'm gonna ask you, am I the only one that goes through this? Like sometimes when we'll ask people about their childhood, you're thinking about your childhood too, but then you realize that their childhood is actually your adulthood. Like, she's talking about her childhood in Blink-182, and I'm like, wait a minute, I was 33 years old when that came out. Like,
doing
what the fuck, Brittany Howard?
Don't do the math. Don't do the math.
Don't do it. Don't do it. It hurts.
I know. I get my feelings hurt. I guess when we first played together was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, in Cleveland, and we were doing a tribute for Big Mama Thornton. In your childhood, did anyone ever put you onto her, or was it like later in life when you discovered her? I'm for a so-called music historian, I admit, and I'm ashamed to admit that I was probably in my mid-40s before someone explained to me who Big Mama Thornton was, even though like I've heard Hound Dog and all that stuff all my life. But
I remember doing Sister Rosetta Tharpe though.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking you was talking about.
That's
just what I was thinking about.
You know what? I don't even want to edit that. Yes. Even Questlove makes mistakes. Yes. I had a brain fart. I'm sorry.
I'm thinking we need to know both names.
Questlove.
We need to know both names.
We definitely need to know both names. I'm sorry. I meant Sister Rosetta Tharpe.
Yeah.
Were you at all familiar with her in your childhood, or did that come to you later in life?
It definitely came to me later in life. Maybe mid-20s. Mid-20s is when I started getting curious about these women blues players.
Right.
And then I had started hearing about, well, there's this woman that kind of inspired Chuck Berry and inspired Elvis Presley and had the electric guitar. And someone told me about it because I played a SG. And they're like, oh, that's like Sister Rosetta Tharpe. She also played a SG. She played an SG custom in white. And I was like, oh, I've never heard of her. So I started looking into her stuff, and I was like, the stuff she's actually playing on the guitar is so unique. It's her voice on that guitar. Nobody else is doing it. It's crazy. It's actually hard. It's hard to play how she's playing. And so that's when I kind of started diving into her stuff and her story, which her story is really interesting as well.
Okay. I always wanted to know if that entered your life earlier. Who is in your, I guess, your childhood or in your teens, who was your North Star by that point, as far as like singing was concerned, as far as like who's just like your go-to artist that you loved?
In my teens, it was David Bowie.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Wow. Because it was like the whole aesthetic and the songwriting was like, it had like a lot of different mixtures in it, which I really liked. It had like some show tunes to it as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like I could hear his inspirations being like from Broadway. And then like also he was taking things like from Kabuki theater, and he was borrowing rhythms from R&B, and he was doing jazzy things. And it was just fascinating to me. And I liked his voice. I thought it was really interesting how he used his voice too. He wasn't trying to be like a professional singer or a technical singer. He was just like giving, like, he was giving vignettes. He was giving like small scenes from a movie or something every song. I thought that was cool. So I became obsessed with it.
Okay.
Obsessed to what levels?
I had everything. I had everything he had ever done.
You have Labyrinth?
Yes, I was just about, I love you, Fonte. I fucking love you, Fonte.
Yes.
I'm like, okay. Yeah, because she said Bowie. I was like, okay, what era of Bowie is this? Early, is this 84?
Literally
Bowie, like.
Oh, I was listening to like Tin Man. I was listening to all of it. I didn't like it.
Oh, Tin Man?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
No, I'm only you know, it's weird. All right, so I worked in a record store 88, 89 when the first Tin Man album came out. And like, that's the one thing, okay, so we traded in the record store for the internet, but if you hang out in a record store long enough, you're going to meet 2 or 3 know-it-all snobs that have their like unsolicited opinions on stuff, and it kind of rubs off. Suddenly their opinions become your opinions. And working in that record store, and like, think of Jack Black's character in
High Fidelity. High Fidelity.
Yeah, like I had like 2 of those guys, and you know, we had to put the Tin Men display up and all that stuff, and they were just like, ah, man, this shit sucks. And you know, I wish he would. Of course, you know, everyone wants you to go back to when, you know, your first 7 years when you're blowing everyone's mind, and when it was just your secret before the world had you. And it's so weird because I'm working on this doc right now, and Timon's performance are a part of it, and it just hit me that I will say that if you really give, and if you could find any of their performances online, and I don't know how much they did, I know they did a few promotional shows and whatnot, but I would almost risk, you know, I know I'm risking my reputation out here, but I would almost say that Tin Men was almost like a precursor to grunge. Yeah, I mean, if I can borrow from Gen Z, it was giving down, it was giving Soundgarden, it was giving Alice in Chains, it was borderline, it was somewhere in between like early Smashing Pumpkins. And I know when we say grunge, you just automatically, non-grunge heads will just think like, oh, Smells Like Teen Spirit, or you know, that sort of thing. But I mean, yeah, like, I realized that, oh, that Bowie's fan base had the younger generation, after the same thing with Prince. If you remember that Prince got booed at the Rolling Stones, opening for the Rolling Stones back in '81, like, generation baby boomers were not Prince's audience. Prince was the older brother of Gen X. So, you know, some 3 or 4 years later, that audience is going to grasp the Prince. And yeah, it's weird that even I would say that all Bowie fans should probably revisit Tin Man, or at least try to find them in concert. It was actually awesome. Like, if you're a fan of grunge, I would say that they're the precursor to that. So, but that's my opinion. But anyone else besides Bowie?
Let's see. Started off pretty hard with David Bowie, and then I found out about Pink Floyd. I hadn't heard Pink Floyd before. I remember being like, it was like 15, riding in the back of my friend's car, and she starts playing what is it, Dark Side of the Moon. Yeah. And I was like, what the hell is this? This is so many different types of music. Right. This is like jazz. This is like rock. I'd never heard any type of music like it. I remember hearing it in the back of it was a Buick LaSalle. I remember hearing it, and I remember getting so excited because I didn't know you could do music like that. I didn't know you could take everything like that and mix it together.
Without psychedelics?
No psychedelics. I was just getting a ride home from school.
Oh, wow. That's what's up. Have you ever done the Wizard of Oz test to it?
No, I've never done that. I've heard about it.
Have you heard about it?
I've heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's up until maybe the end of Money, it literally
really does.
It fits perfect.
Is the Wizard of Oz test? Is it? I thought that was for The Wall and not Dark Side.
Nah, Dark Side on the third line roar. You're supposed to start. You're supposed to start the record on the third line roar of MGM, and literally it plays perfectly. Even when it turns into color, that's when the bells and Money starts.
Money, yeah.
And they start doing the dance and all that stuff. And then towards the end, it's like, okay, now he definitely did it up until Money. I'll say that much. Have you ever watched The Wall?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's so weird that I first saw The Wall in The Wall was the first pandemic film that I watched before I started obsessing over Fantasia. And I don't know, man. It's almost like we owe Roger an apology letter, because I know that, you know, for all intents and purposes, like, we credit Michael Jackson for video innovation, but for that thing to come out in 1979, which is basically pretty much, you know, if you were to take like the 15 best videos you've seen on MTV for the first 4 years, like between 81 and 85, then I would say like The Wall was all that in 1979, and he just never truly got the credit. Like, again, I discovered The Wall in 2020, like long after that fact. So I highly recommend it. But
I mean, yeah, and when I was in high school, that was like a cult classic. Like, you had to sit down and watch The Wall. We all knew it was something special, and everybody was, trying to experiment with drugs and watch The Wall, and we're at a party, The Wall's on. Like, that was like the cool thing,
Yep, I recommend it. Yeah, next time y'all do psychedelics, though, like, watch The Wall and Fantasia. But
noted.
What's going on with Fantasia?
Before 2020, I really wasn't big on drinking or psychedelics at all. Like an occasional cookie or a gummy or that sort of thing. But most people said, like, you should experience it outside. I'm still not an outside person. I want to be inside when I do it, because I don't know, fear of control or whatever. But someone suggested to me to watch Fantasia, and there's two versions. There's Fantasia and then Fantasia 2, which came out in 2000. Without psychedelics, you'll see something in that movie, but with it, oh my God, it's a whole nother level of, like, I use that pretty much. I'd watch it like once, maybe twice a week, while kind of making, and then after that, I would get ideas for Summer of Soul, like, oh, want to do this and that and this and that, and kind of the panic level of Summer of Soul's editing, I would say, was really inspired just by, like, ideas I had from doing that. Sometimes you have to get into someone else's art in order to create your own. I want to ask, so did you start Bermuda Triangle before the Alabama Shakes?
No, that was after.
Okay, after. So Alabama Shakes was your first group. Can you talk about the formation of that?
Yeah. So I was in high school, and I had been looking for people to play with, and I had seen a couple of guys in my school that were interested in music, playing music, and they were like dedicated to it. And so I really wanted to meet them. I was trying to figure out, so I'm younger than them. And me being me, I was like, why would they want to talk to me? Like, I'm younger than them. I look different than them. We don't travel in the same groups. I don't know how I'm going to have my end. So I went and made a little demo, like, by myself. And I used to use like Audacity. So it's like super easy to record with, sounded terrible back in the day. And so I brought him a CD, and I was like, hey, this is to Zach, bass player, who later became the bass player of Alabama Shakes. I was like, hey, I made this music. I don't know. I just wonder if you ever want to come like jam with me sometime, play music with me sometime. He was like, yeah, let's go listen to it. So we go to the parking lot of the high school, sit in his Honda Accord, and he plays it. And he's like, oh, this is cool. He's like, yeah, I'd like to come over and play. So that's about when I was like 15, 16, and me and Zach started playing every day. And we were learning how to play, like, at the time it was like prog rock. So we're like doing Yes and King Crimson. We're like learning that kind of stuff. This is new to me, but I'm fascinated by it because it's all really technically difficult stuff. And we started writing together, and then we made a demo. And Heath, who later became a guitar player for the Shakes, heard that and was like, I want y'all to open, like, can y'all open for my band? And I was like, man, we don't even got a band. It's just like us. So we went down to the music store, and the best drummer in town worked at the music store. We only had one music store in town. Hey, man, you want to come play with us? He's like, oh, I don't know. We show him our demo. He's like, I'll check it out. I'll come by. I'll see what y'all are about. So then we start playing together. And then we opened up for Heath's group. And honestly, that's like what did it. The first time we played together, we knew that we had something. And so we started then working on our own material. And that later became the Alabama Shakes, the four of us.
Okay. I got hip to you guys via Jack White was pretty much like, screaming from the mountaintops about you guys and whatnot. For you, did you have any expectations of where this journey was going to take you? You guys came out of nowhere, but I'm certain that it took a lot of work and a lot of crafting before you got the record deal. Like, how long was it before you started the band until you got your record deal?
That's a good question. I'm trying from the time we started the band, which I'm saying we started the band when I probably had just graduated high school, 2007.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say like that's really when we started playing our own shows with our own music. And then I feel like whenever Boys and Girls came out, it was like 2012
like
or something
2011.
Like
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it wasn't that long, but we played all the time and we played for no money. And all we did was get together Tuesdays and Thursdays and write new music, work on the set. And to me, it was like miraculous that anything happened at all. Because at a certain point, I just like accepted that I was going to be a mail carrier. I was going to deliver mail and I would play music on the side, and that was going to be my life. I was okay with that.
Let me ask, because I'm curious about band dynamics, like anyone being a band or a unit in, post millennial times. It's almost like it's like aliens landing, because pretty much life is built for the solo artist post aughts, post 2000. When the band is forming, is there a general agreement like of who the leader is, or is it like a thing where it's like, okay, it's democracy and we all have a say? Or like, how do you handle band decisions and whatnot? Like Fonte, of course, comes from a rap group. I come from the Roots, and I like to pretend like it's a democracy or whatever, but like, how do you deal with those dynamics?
For us, it was a democracy. That's we honestly communicated a lot why or why not we shouldn't do something.
Right.
And the better you were at just talking about your feelings, usually the more
what's that?
The more it will go your way, because the better you were at communicating why you didn't want to do this. It was almost like in a court of law, but it came from an emotional place. I really don't want to do this because XYZ, this is cheesy, this is that, this is yeah. If you were quieter, you didn't get as much of your way because it's like nobody's hearing what you have to say. But we would all sit down and talk.
Okay. I would assume that the reception of Boys and Girls was not overwhelming, but it was definitely, to come out the gate. And I'm speaking as a person that took 4 attempts to finally come out the gate. What is it like on your debut to come out the gate and instantly become critical darlings? And what is that feeling?
Surreal. So absolutely surreal.
Can you describe like the first moment when you realize like, oh shit, we're really going to be a thing?
Yeah, I do remember it. It popped in my head as soon as you said it. I remember it was in Nashville. We're on Broadway, and there's like the secret club. I don't know anything about that life. We had just got through playing the Blue Room with Jack White. Jack White invited us to play his Third Man Records, and I was excited to meet Jack White because I love the White Stripes. And then there's Kings of Leon is there, and I at the time like I had like the first 2 records. Loved Kings of Leon. And they're coming up to me and they're like, oh, I think you're gonna make it, like all this stuff,
Right.
And I'm like, these guys are telling me I'm gonna make it. And so I remember going to the secret little bar after the show, and it was kind of fancy. I'd never been in that environment before. And I remember there's a balcony outside, and it was me and the drummer Steve. And I go out there and Steve was crying. And I looked at him, I was like, why are you crying, Steve? He was like, I really think we're gonna do something. And I was like, damn, you think so? And then I started crying, and we're just out there just like, having this emotional moment that's like, I can't believe this is happening to us. It was just all of our circumstances. It was just like such a miracle happening in our lives. It was just like, it's like Superman came in to save you,
Right when you needed it, huh?
Yeah, had spent
it's like right on
so much of my
time.
life at the poverty line, and now I had an opportunity for the first time ever, you know?
So
And that's what it felt like.
you all collectively moved to Nashville, or
No, I was the first one to move to Nashville, and that was later. It was like much later, yeah. I stayed in Athens for a long time.
I'm being told that Nashville is pretty much the last bastion of hope for the serious musician. Is it that, like, every singer-songwriter I know, especially now, like I peeped one person's Instagram feed, and suddenly, you know, like when you peep one Instagram feed, your algorithms was suddenly, I didn't realize the staggering amount of songwriters. And I just thought, like, oh, it must be just country. No, it's every musician is like, I got to go to Nashville to make it. The way that an actress is like, I got to go to Hollywood to make it.
Yeah.
What is it about Nashville that just calls out? Not even a musician, you. What is it? What is it?
From me, it was a practical thing. Nashville Airport goes a lot of different places. That's really all it was. Like, and I had, you know, when I moved there initially, so I'm from a small town. Nashville was kind of like, besides Birmingham, that was the next biggest town. That's where you could go see the bands you want to see. You could go see live music. So I was always going up there to go see bands. And so I made friends up there. So naturally, I wanted to go to be where my friends were. So that's how I ended up in Nashville. But I stay in Nashville because it's practical. Like, my family's an hour and a half away. The airport's 15 minutes away. Now I have good friends in the city. And that's, I mean, I'm not going to say I get out there and watch a lot of music. I don't.
Really?
I'm kind of a homebody. Yeah.
I just want to say congratulations, Brittany Howard. You've continued a long tradition of Questlove Supreme antics where I will romanticize something, and then my interview subject just takes this and does this.
Shut it.
But there is a beauty to Nashville. I've only lately, I had never been there my whole life up until the last 5 years because of because they have the Black Music Museum now in Nashville, which I'm on a small board for, but also witnessing like Black Americana and some of those bands and the rise of like Black folks claiming their country again is it's beautiful. Beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. And I do love that about Nashville. And I actually love the younger people that live there now and the music that they're doing is actually really exciting. We got like house clubs now. Well, I don't know if I should say that, but like we have house parties now.
And y'all know for those, Brittany? It's
not house music, but actual house.
Yeah.
Joint meaning or?
Well, it's like, you know, everything they do is legal. That's all I'm saying. And like go in there and
okay, no. I thought you meant house music. I was like, oh, club culture is coming to Nashville. I get it.
No, that is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. And they get their own speaker systems together and it's cool. It's like really cool. It's really lively. I'll go to that, but not for long because I like to sleep nowadays. But like, I'll go for a couple hours. You know what I mean? And there's that happening in Nashville. That's cool. And there's a part of me that almost wants to gatekeep it, to keep it pure, because Nashville, you have to keep in mind, it's also a tourist town. But we also have to live in a tourist town.
So you don't want me coming colonizing your precious
Listen,
Nashville.
Amazon already moved to Nashville, honey. It's official. It's gone.
It's over. It's over. Oracle's moving in. It's over.
I will ask at its height, was there a moment when, and again, my obsession with how people can create and do bands together is the same questions I asked Fonte with Little Brother. Is there a moment where it stops being fun, or you know, when you released your first solo record, I was like, like, because often when people release a solo record, I'm hoping that they realize that you can go off and do separate projects, but you can always come back to home base and keep the brand alive, or keep my dream alive. I won't say the dream, but you know.
I feel you, Ahmir.
Well, yeah, because I want to see more bands in existence. So in a way that you can express it without it being awkward, what was the decision that led up to breaking up the band?
We have been working incredibly hard for a long number of years. And it came to a point where people got to go home and live their lives, but I never really got to live my life because I was working on the next album.
Right.
Or I was doing this, I was doing that. And it's just like, I was just tired. Just tired. And it was like a hard decision because like those are my brothers, you know what I'm saying? Like we, all of our lives experienced this miracle at the same time. We saw the world together and we created beautiful things together. It was really difficult to choose myself. I'll be honest.
Right.
It's difficult to take care of my own mental, spiritual, emotional health. But it was a choice I made because I wasn't enjoying creating. Nothing was coming to me. I was just kind of tired of the whole business. It was like I didn't even like music no more. You know what I mean? It's just like I think it was just overworked. And it was the kind of situation where it's like even if I took a break, I don't know if I would come back. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's nobody's fault. It's just conditional.
Yeah. Well, can I ask, is it, I would think that would actually be more of a business or more of a burden now that everything's going to fall on you. Like, I'm certain that as a solo artist, yes, you could complete autonomy in terms of how you sonically want stuff to sound or songs you want to do or whatever control that it is that you want or musically how you want it to sound. But I would figure that it's even more of a burden that way. But for you, was it a matter of song choices, what you wanted to do or how you wanted something to sound or arrangements or level of musicianship? Like, what was it about being a solo artist that made you say, look, this is the end of the road and I have to do this now?
I think what you're saying is part of it. It's all kind of part of it. Wanting to hear what it sounds like if I create something without anybody editing it is part of it. Like, what if I can just do this on my own? What if I can just write music like this on my own? I need the right recipe. I need the right parts. It's like, it's just a freedom, a creative freedom. And I thought, well, like life is short. I think it's worth giving that a shot, giving that a chance, see what I can do with it. That's part of it. And as far as like having a burden, being a solo artist, I just feel like there's not as much of a burden as you would think, because at the end of the day, when I don't want to do this anymore, I'm not like having to affect other people's lives as much as I was in the Shakes. Like if I said I don't want to tour this year, that's affecting all of them. And what if I don't want to go back out? That's affecting all of them all of the time. So you're kind of tied together. You know what I'm saying? And when you're on your own, it's like the ship sinks or the ship sails, like, and it's all up to me. So it's a different type of fulfillment. You know what I mean?
I'd like to know, because you were an intersectional and interracial band. How hard is it to get people to understand culturally where you're coming from? When you're kind of alone, but still in a crowd of people. Like, is it easy to explain things? Are they sensitive to these things, or was it always a teachable lesson? And not even with your bandmates, but just as you guys are operating as a band.
No, I think that's a good question. It's like nothing we ever really had to talk about. It was just, this is me, this is my expression, this is how I feel about this. We never really had to have conversations. Because by the time, like when we were talking about the band, by the time the band kind of concluded, we had all grown a lot in a lot of different ways. And it had kind of got to the point where I was just like, well, I don't want any of my expressions to affect you or vice versa. How I feel about something shouldn't affect you, and how you feel about something should, it started to become a little bit more like, how do I say, like, we just started becoming, some of us were different. That's all. Yeah. We just grew into different people. Difference. Yeah.
Got it. Did you worked on sound and color with one of my favorite producers, Blake Mills. Can you describe what that process was like working with him?
Sure. Yeah, there were some songs. So usually when I come to the studio, I have everything already demoed out, like how I want it to sound, and it don't sound good yet, but it's just the ideas there. And I'll have all the parts laid out. And there was a few songs I just couldn't seem to get finished. You know, working with Blake was cool because we both just put our heads together and tried to figure out where we can take this thing. And one of the songs, you know, I had like, it's called a song called The Greatest. And it was like a slow kind of ballad thing.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, just speed it up. There you go. There it was. Now it's like this punk rock thing. And it was really cool. It was like a Ramones type thing. And I liked that. And then there was like, obviously getting the sounds and tones. And we were working with Sean Everett. And we were, all of us were like a part of that process, especially like the mixing and the finding the different sounds. And then I think for like the final song, finishing some of the lyrics to I think it was Gemini, song Gemini, finishing lyrics to that. And the process was like, having Blake work with you is like, it's nice to have someone like light a fire underneath you and keep you on task. Because I feel like sometimes as songwriters, musicians, having an idea and finishing it is a whole, it's a whole thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Can you explain just the process of making the Jamie record?
Yeah, it was actually kind of a supernatural process, to be honest with you. I went to Topanga in you know, it's like that mountain outside LA. And it's got like they say there's hippies there. I didn't meet any, but I rented this house and I had like 3 songs. And I knew that in I think it was like 3 weeks, a month, I had to go into the studio and I had to record, and I didn't have anything and I wasn't getting anything. Like I don't smoke weed, but I like went and bought some weed. And I sat down and I was like, I gotta connect with the muse. I have to get inspired. I don't have anything. So I called a psychic, and the psychic was like, oh, she's like, you already got it in the bag. The record's already done. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, you already have the songs. You just gotta find them. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. So now I'm miserable because I don't waste the money on this psychic. But I have 4 songs. And I go to the studio and I tell Sean, I don't know, this is what I got. Let's get the band in here. Let's do these. And maybe as the days go by, I'll find time to create some new ones. I don't know. As we would sit down with the band, have lunch, we'd have these conversations. And then they would just say like a particular word. Like one of the words was Jehovah's Witness. And I had remembered right when they said it, oh my God, I have a project in Logic called Jehovah's Witness. And it was cool. Because I name my projects like whatever. Because I have to name them before I can save them on my system.
Working titles.
So funky titles. So I had to get someone all the way back in Nashville to send me entire projects. And that's how I got the album together. It would be every day going in and someone would just say a phrase and I'd be like, that's a song. Now I have the song Baby. Now I have the song Goat Head. And all these things were getting pulled in. And like, it just came together like that. It was crazy. It's like I did already have them.
So the psychic was right.
Psychic was technically correct. Yes.
Hey, there you go. What was the inspiration? Because actually, to be honest, I forgot where I was, but I Shazammed something. I heard Sid the Kid singing, and I Shazammed it. And I realized I didn't know at the time that you actually remixed the Jamie album or had a slew of people from Ninth Wonder and Georgia Ann and Bad Not Good and I think
Childish Gambino, right?
Yeah. Glover worked on the joint too. Right. So I got deep into that. What was the process of doing that? Because it was almost like a whole new album.
Yeah, the process was like, first things first, I just want to reach out to people whose music and ideas I really respect. What if y'all wanted to remix one of these songs real quick? What would it sound like if you did it? And honestly, like everybody was super excited to do it. And every time a new song would come in, I would get so excited. And I'd run out to my car and I'd just sit there and listen to it and be blown away. Like Little Dragon did some stuff, Fred again did some stuff, Michael Kiwanuka did some stuff. And this is just like people I've always like kind of wanted to work with. And this is kind of an easy way to get to work together. Overall, the song and the material is already there. It's just rearrange it. Like, how would you have done it? And it was so interesting to listen to. It was so cool. Such a cool project.
It reminded me of like the Verve remix projects. Like you just did your own thing on your album. Yeah, it's really dope.
Yeah.
Can I just ask, you talked about a lot of things self-care wise in this conversation. I'm curious how it's evolved now that you are by yourself and you have to figure out all of these, it's just everything has changed in the dynamic. Although you have this whole next level of freedom, you also have a next level of attention. So what does that, responsibility, like Ponte said, like, so what does self-care on a daily look like for you?
I mean, on the daily, I do meditation. I do transcendental meditation. So I've been doing that for, I guess, a couple years.
Yeah.
Helps a lot.
How much time? How much time do you spend on it?
That's 20 minutes twice a day.
Team small.
So.
Yep.
Oh,
that's why I was late to this joint.
Oh, okay. Excused.
Well, that it's amazing what it does. It creates a lot of space in my life. I got one of the minds that runs all day, and when I lay down, don't want to stop running, So that's really helpful and gives me patience for anything that I come up against. It gives me space for people who love me and who I want to take care of. Helps me be a better performer because I'm not overwhelmed, not stressed out all the time, because it just can be very stressful.
You have anxiety performing?
No, I don't have anxiety performing, but performing to me is really it's the pinnacle of what I do. Like, I love making records. I also love performing, and when I perform, I really do try my best, man. And like, it's the point where I get to be free. Like, in my physical form, I get to be free. Nobody can touch me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my space. This is my thing. And so I spend, like, when I'm on tour now, I just spend all of my time making sure I'm ready for that thing. That's the most important thing when I'm out here.
I want to ask, you work on this new record with a good buddy of mine, Nate Smith. What's it like collaborating with him, and how'd you guys meet and start working together?
So I love Nate. When I had been watching Nate on Instagram, like, so I'm a drummer at heart. I love drummers, right? I've been a fan of you, Questlove, for a very, very long time. You and
Aww.
Yeah, very long time. And of course. And I started to see Nate, and I started to see the way he played. And I thought the way he played was so interesting because it's so emotional. Of course, it's super technical, but there's also just so much feeling in it when he's playing. And I just started watching all his videos, and I thought to myself, before I made the album Jamie, if I'm going to get any drummer to play on this, who would it be? And because I had just found him and it just kind of broke off into watching his videos, I was like, I'm just going to ask him. I'm just going to ask Nate. Let's see if he'll do it. And he said yes. Came to the studio. We made that album together. And then I was like, will you go on the road with me? And I had to do a little convincing. We didn't know each other that well. He said yes. And now I get to play with him like every night, all the time. He's just incredible. He's just incredible. Incredible. I feel like the luckiest person. I get to be on stage with someone like a musician like that.
Does he only play 3 drums on the road? It's like he has like a kick, a snare, and a hi-hat. That's like his shit. It's like the Questlove method. It's like all you need, right? Does he have more drums on the road?
Not during my show. We got him playing.
Okay.
Yes. He got 2 kick drums, 2 toms, 2 snares, SPD pad. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, Brittany, can I ask you about the visuals for this album, or at least for the single?
Sure.
And tell me about, like, I'm just curious too, because again, you on your solo joint. So tell me about how it even came to fruition, and to the album cover, because what we're seeing today is not how you perform as well. It's like a whole thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. So for the visuals for the album cover, I really like movies. I really like Japanese movies and Korean movies, and I like Akira Kurosawa. And Akira Kurosawa's got this movie called Dreams. And I never hear people really talking about it, but it's the most beautiful movie. And the things he was trying in that film are incredible, colorful, unique storylines. You kind of show up and you're supposed to just know what's going on. It's like all this like folklore. And at the same time, he's weaving in his own life story. And it's all just very deep and metaphorical. And I was very inspired by that visual element, like the visual elements from that film. And so when I went to do my album cover, I wanted it to feel kind of like a dream, where it's like you're sitting in a place that is seemingly like very beautiful and very comfortable, but in truth, there's like a storm in the background, and there's rattlesnakes and the flowers, and it's 20 degrees outside, because that was the reality. The reality was that's not AI. I woke up at 2:20 a.m. to drive out to the mountains.
AI?
That's not AI. No, that's AI. That's real.
And then the video.
And then the video for What Now?
Yes.
Yeah. So the song What Now, it kind of reminds me of like Michael Jackson. It kind of reminds me of like this nostalgia from when I was a kid, like RoboCop. I don't know, like
Laughing.
Yeah, just like the Vaseline on the lens effect. Like, so that's what I wanted to give it. I wanted to give it this kind of like Matrix, like Ninja, like RoboCop, like just aesthetic to it. Because the song
you're
to me
hardly in it. You just
No, I don't like being in music videos. Takes too long.
Smart. Like that's the Aerosmith way.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. What was it like to record at Sound Emporium? For those that don't know, Sound Emporium in Nashville is like a legend fucking dairy studio owned by RCA Records. Like all the greats have recorded there. Oh, I was surprised it's still up and operational and running. And my B side of that question is, how did you wind up with Prince's board?
Yeah. All right. Sound Emporium's great. You know, first and foremost, I want a real chamber, like wherever I'm recording. They got one of those. I want a big room because I want to be able to position mics wherever I need to. Or if I have like a binaural mic in the center room, I want to be able to space things out as far as I want to. If I want to throw my voice, I can be in the corner room. I got plenty of space to do this. Got plenty of space to do whatever you want. So that's one of the things I love about Sound Emporium. And they already got all the gear you need. They got the tape machines. You know, you're not calling in and bringing in stuff. They got a lot of they have a great board. I think they just got like they used to have a Neve board, which I really, really, really liked, but now they got this API board. It's nice too. It's good. I like it. Yeah. So Sound Emporium, shout them out. I'll keep going there as long as they'll have me. I love it there. It's like home away from home at this point.
Nice.
Now, when it comes to Prince's console,
yeah,
it didn't belong to Prince himself. This has been getting all over the world. It's like a game of telephone. So Prince, you know, he recorded his first album twice. Yeah. And it was like in the Bay Area. This board had been in Minneapolis, but it's an MCI board. But the fella who had it wanted to take it to the Bay Area with him. So he took it from Minneapolis to like, I don't know, somewhere around San Francisco. That album got recorded. The first time Prince did it, he said he didn't like it. You know, we all know that story because the other musicians were playing. So then he scrapped that. And where he went and recorded the actual album was a different board. So that's just the provenance of it. And the fella who had took it to there, then took it to Nashville. And that's how it got in Nashville. And that's how I got a hold of it. Of course, when I paid for it, I didn't buy it because it was Prince's board. I just saw this like MCI board with the MCI tape machine that comes together kind of moment. And I was like, yeah, I want that.
Brittany, how much stuff like these days are you doing that are digital based versus analog based? It seems like what you're just talking about chambers and binaural mics seems very analog to me, but like some of the sounds seem very digital. I don't know, like what do you are you consciously like making decisions based on that kind of thing, or is it just kind of all a bunch of paint and you're just painting with all of it?
So when I start off doing my demos, it's usually digital just because it's handy. I can pull from lots of different ideas really quickly. So I'll start there, but I know ultimately I want to do something analog. To me, and you know, everybody has an opinion about this, but to me, the analog is just more fun because you can accidentally do shit with analog that is just because there's a wiring problem, or this one sounds different than that one. Why is that? It's just like there's something to it. There's something in the wiring and the circuitry in the tubes. And then putting everything down to tape just kind of is like a nice way of smushing everything together. It's just like so like it's such a small detail, but I really do think I can feel and hear the difference. And personally, when I'm making music, it's more fun. It's just more fun.
All right, before we wrap up, all right, I don't want to be intrusive, but you did bring it up. Can you share with me what your mantra word is in your TM?
I can't. You know I can't.
Come on.
I'm not going to tell you that word.
Can you share with us what the hell you just said? Can you share with us what the hell that means?
Yeah. All right. So when you do TM, like okay,
transcendental meditation. Okay.
Yeah, yes. So, all right, when I first got introduced to meditation, of course, was in the pandemic, and I thought the world was fucking coming to an end. So I became like a meditation obsessive, and I was going about it all wrong. Like I would do like 2 hours to 2.5 hours in the morning before I get out of bed.
Oh.
Of anything, DMT, meditate, like every type of breath of fire, all that stuff. And then I do an additional 2 hours before I go to bed. And I told a friend was like, wait, you meditate 4 hours a day?
Yeah. How do you have that time?
The world stopped.
Pandemic, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, all I had was DJing for 5 hours and work a bit on Summer Soul, but I was doing nothing.
Drinking.
And I was just like, I need to keep my sanity. And they were basically like, all right, that's cute, but you're doing it wrong. And you really, and so he gave me a clip. Weird enough. It's
okay.
Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld has a clip on YouTube of all people in the world. And he's like, the key to my success is TM, trance meditation. And I met him maybe 7 months later, and I asked him about it. I was like, so what did you mean the key to your success? And he's like, well, we would break for lunch on Seinfeld, and instead of me going to lunch, in 45 minutes, I'll go to my trailer and I'll do TM for like maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Always. And then I'll go about my day. And I was like, well, I don't get it. 10 minutes? I do 4 hours. And he started laughing like, you're doing it wrong. And so basically, there's a gentleman named Bob Roth who I got put on to. And what it is that you're assigned a word and you're supposed to keep that word unique to yourself. I've talked to some people and, we trade off words, whatever. But yes, you're supposed to keep it to yourself. And you're basically supposed to sit. So I sit in this office and I sit in the dark and pretty much you say your mantra, your chant. If you remember what's love got to do with it.
Nam Young Ho Renge Kyo. Nam Young Ho.
Right, exactly. Or if you're a fan of what's happening now. All right, I'm joking about what's happening, but yeah, I mean, even that's words, but some people just sit and hum. Sometimes I get lazy and don't do the chant, and I'll just sit. And what it does, it just basically, if you live a life in which you got to make panic decisions with seconds left on the clock, the sound, like I live in a constant state of panic where it's, I owe this guy a deadline and that a deadline, and where's your notes from da 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 da, and you're 10 minutes later, and that sort of thing. So sometimes you just gotta sit for 10 minutes in silence. Tariq does it. I'm certain he's doing it right now. He's next door here. It's what keeps your sanity, because if you don't do that, you're going to drink. I need a drink. I need something, so I'd rather, when I get to the place, and, even though we were talking before we started recording, I had probably one of the most stressful nights of my life last night. So I had to do therapy and TM, like old school Ahmir, like an hour. So it's the thing that keeps you from making rash decisions that will affect the rest of your life, or unfortunately for some people, in their life. So with that said, I actually want to thank you, especially with the way that the album is crafted with the interludes and like for me, and in the same vein of as what Andre's doing with his project. Like I love the fact that post-pandemic times we're getting new versions of Black artistry, because oftentimes like we're very close to the chest when it comes to being vulnerable and letting our feelings out there and sharing with people. So yeah, congratulations on doing that. It's really inspirational. Thank you for doing the show with us, Britt.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations on freedom.
Man,
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Thank you.
We can see it and hear it on you. Your freedom. It's awesome. I'm taking some of it. Thank you.
And I appreciate that, because I know like this process of people just probing into your life and all those things is the part of the music biz that is the most uncomfortable, where we just want to sing and whatnot. But thank you. It's good to give somebody their flowers that's just as uncomfortable as I am with taking it. So
and listen, and happy Women's History Month, because you're always making history in my book. This voice is historic.
And that's it. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah.
All right. So on behalf of Fontegolo, Laia, and Sugar Steve, and brand new Bill. Yes.
Bill and Brittany y'all done the street together?
Brittany's never been on the street, I don't think.
Brittany, you ain't been on the street?
Damn.
Work on that.
We got Brittany on the street.
I can work on that.
She's perfect for the street.
Yes. She's just perfect in general. But
that's true. Okay.
Hey,
all right,
I'll take that today. Hey, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, this was Questlove Supreme. We'll see you on the next go round.